So again, what we're talking about is desserts. Okay, so what are desserts? Is this a staple of your diet and nutrition? I wish it was, right? Yeah. So remember we talked about at the beginning of the T28 challenge, we talked about, if your life revolves around you getting sugar, then chances are you have an addiction to what? To food and to sugar. Yeah, so if you get an emotional response about eating desserts or eating bread and pasta and things like that, and if you withdraw and it changes your mood, then chances are you have a severe addiction to that food. So remember, this is desserts, all right? So this is not a staple in your diet, stable in your nutrition. Now, thing is that when we talk about our core plan, our advanced nutrition plan, we think, oh gosh, I'm never ever going to have any kind of desserts. The reality is you can have desserts that's core plan approved and advanced plan approved, so you don't have to choose between the strawberry shortcake and the salad. You don't have to choose, okay? So you can actually have desserts that are going to be moderately good for you that aren't going to tank your nutrition for the next 7 to 10 days. So these are the 3 things I want to talk about tonight. What to use and what to avoid when it comes to sweeteners and refined grains. Number 2, the basics of baking with healthy fats, oils, and butter. And number 3, healthy alternative to white flour and grains. We want those 3 things. So you're going to get a lot of knowledge that's going to help you when it comes to cooking and when it comes to baking. How many of you like to bake? All right, so now we're going to choose this over that. John, you raise your hand. You like to bake? You're like Davy Crocker or something like that. So is sugar really dangerous to your health? When I'm writing this book, and I'm going to, some of the things that I did at the talk 4 weeks ago, I'm going to go into a lot more detail when it comes to it, but sugar is absolutely dangerous to your health. Number 1 cause of obesity, and number 1 cause of high cholesterol. So if you want to lower your cholesterol, get off of what? Off of sugar, okay? Number 2, it's your fast track to type 2 diabetes. Do you know how many grams of sugar that your body can store at one time? You know approximately how many grams? It's your body, before your body releases insulin, it's about 3 to 4 grams. How much your body can store as sugar comes down to about 500 grams. So it's about 500 grams of sugar that your body can store in the muscles and in the liver. And so once you reach that 500 gram threshold, guess where it goes to? Straight into fat. So it gets stored as fat. Number 3, it causes inflammation, leading to high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cancer, and type 2 diabetes, and massive pain and arthritis inside of your body. So you guys know, how many of you have experienced a decrease in pain levels over the last 4 weeks from doing it, okay? It leads to heart disease because of the inflammation. So if you want to lower your heart disease risk, get off of sugars and refined grains. Now, it's also an anti-nutrient, and what I mean by that is that sugar is just not, it's sugar. Sugar, when you actually consume it, depletes you of other minerals and other vitamins and other resources from your body. So it's not just, hey, it's just a calorie, there's no effect. The effect it has on your body actually depletes you from other things, specifically like your bone mass. So high sugar diet will absolutely destroy a woman's and a man's bone mass or their bone density, leading to what? Osteoporosis. So not only is it an anti-nutrient, it also promotes cancer. This is something I've been researching a ton, is that the sugar doesn't cause the cancer, but once the cancer takes hold, the sugar absolutely begins fueling it. So it's like putting gasoline on a fire. Once the fire, the spark has started, sugar is like pouring that gasoline on it and causing it to erupt all over the body, okay? So sugar is absolutely dangerous to your health. We already know that it's actually addictive, and I can vouch for this because I know that some of you who are going through this process, day 3 or day 4, you guys are just flat out angry and not very nice to be around. You guys are just not nice to be around, all right? But I understood this, okay? So does that mean that you have to give up sweets? No, there's a lot of alternatives that you can use to bake your favorite treats and sweeten your foods. It's just that you're substituting this for that, okay? Now, here's the note. Any kind of sweets, even the healthier kind, should be moderated. All right, so this doesn't mean, hey, this is like, Dr. Tom said I could have this, so I have had this buffet of treats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So sweet tasting food should never be a staple in your diet. Now, I run into a lot of people who think, well, I don't have sugar, but I have raw agave nectar. I sweeten everything with that instead. And guess what that is exactly identical to? Sugar. It's the same as sugar. So it has the same effect on your blood sugar and insulin response as actually sugar. So we're going to go over just a couple of things that you can substitute. Here's the lowdown on sweeteners, okay? So we love our sweeteners, and here's the ones that you can actually use if you're on the advanced plan or on the core plan. All right, so the first one is going to be Stevia. Now remember, this is a sweetener. So you're still not using literally cups and cups of Stevia. Now what you want to look out for is that when you're buying Stevia, that you're looking for additional fillers and binders. And how do you know that? Because people ask me, well, what about this brand of Stevia? And I'm like, it's impossible for me to know every brand of Stevia off the top of my head. Look at the actual ingredients, okay? Now the other thing is necessary for taste or for certain recipes, used sparingly are going to be these. These are your sugar alcohols. So how many of you heard of xylitol? Yeah. All right. So make sure that it comes from birch trees, not from corn, and then also erythritol. Yeah. So these are sugar alcohols, and so they are coming from sugar, but they don't have the insulin response as just regular sugar. Okay, this would be like your Stevia. So how many of you enjoyed Stevia? Yeah, so what you do is you replace the regular pop with one that's sweet with Stevia, but it also has xylitol or erythritol that's actually in it. So if you get gum, you like gums and things like that, a lot of them, the healthier versions of them that will be sweetened with erythritol or xylitol. Now, these things are okay if you are using somewhat sparingly because they can cause a little bit of stomach upset. So I know if it's like a Saturday night and I'm like, I'm having some Stevia ginger ale. All right, tastes really good. But if I have two of them, my stomach gets upset a little bit and I get a headache actually from it. So these aren't going to spike your blood sugar, but they're better than the artificial sweeteners. Now, these are going to be core plan approved, but they're still going to spike your blood sugar. Things like banana puree and dates. Okay, so dates are actually considered a fruit, but they have a very high glycemic index. So if you're on the core plan, this is something that you can use, but you are using this as a dessert and not as actually a staple in your nutrition. Now these are acceptable vacation foods. You guys know what I mean by vacation foods? So now here's the thing. If I said, Mary Pat, you never, ever, ever, ever can have cake or ice cream or anything like that, she's going to say, oh crap. I never can have it ever again. And immediately, once I tell you you can never have it, immediately you want it. And you want a lot of it. And you may be able to withstand for a couple of days. And then like the weekend comes and you're like, well, he said I can never have it, but I'm just going to have a little bit of it. And because you think I had a little bit of it, I can have a lot of it now. And you say, well, just doggone it. I just fell off my nutrition. I might as well just go all out now. And then it turns into 2 gallons of ice cream, right? And then you say, well, since I really had fallen off track, I might as well just quit. So one of the things that helps you become sane is to have a vacation day where, yeah, you can eat bad, but you're planning for it. So you're planning it. It's on your schedule. So if anyone ever sees me out and I'm eating bread or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed in you. And you're like, I never knew. You're such a hypocrite. And if you do, I'm just like, I'll tip my cap to you and I'll say, vacation day. All right? All right. Now, if I do see you out and immediately you cover up your food with a napkin, I have seen people in the grocery store and they see me and they do one of these. I've seen it all. Yeah, because they don't want to show me what's in there. Yeah. Anyway, so these are good like vacation. So honey is a sweetener. So it's still going to be high in sugar. Grape bean, maple syrup, things like that. And someone asked me coconut sugar. So what about coconut sugar? Now, this is coconut sugar is still refined sugar. Has a little bit lower glycemic index. So it's still going to be better than sucrose or table sugar, but there's still going to be some sugar. So we would consider this a vacation type meal. One of the things that's completely unnecessary is agave nectar that we were talking about. Now, agave nectar has a very high what's called glycemic index. You know what that is, glycemic index? So they measure how quickly it spikes up your blood sugar, and they compare it to sugar. And so anything compared to sugar, like sugar is equal to a 1, and so they compare everything else how quickly, or it's pure glucose they compare it to. Table sugar has a glycemic index of like 88. Agave nectar, I think, is almost exactly the same. And so some of these other sweeteners might have a glycemic index of like in the 30s or 40s. Perfect example is a white potato has a glycemic index of like, I think it's in the 80s, high 70s, low 80s. But a sweet potato has a glycemic index that's about half of that. So you want to choose foods that are going to be lower in glycemic index. Because the more sugar you consume, the more your pancreas has to rush insulin to your body. And the more insulin it has to rush, the more it's signaling the body to actually store fat. Okay? So agave nectar, completely unnecessary. These are what you avoid altogether. We already know this. Aspartame, sucralose, and then also acylfame, potassium, also known as ACE-K. So they used to sweeten a lot with aspartame, then they switched to sucralose, and now they're actually phasing this out and adding this in. Well, guys, they actually put this in 30 years ago. We just forgot about it, so now it's making it cycle back around again. Those are the 3 things that you want to completely avoid 100% of the time. We also want to bake with healthy fats. Are fats good for you or bad for you? Absolutely good for you. Storing fat is not good. But actually eating fat is 100% good for you. It just has to be the right types of fat. So when you're baking, organic, pastured, grass-fed, raw type butter, also ghee, which is clarified butter, is going to be good for you. Then coconut oil. How many of you have discovered the wonders of cooking with coconut oil and all the different things? There's 99 different things that you can do with it. And just because you like coconut oil doesn't make you more spiritual than anybody else. That's the joke, I read it, yeah. Anyway, avocado oil or olive oil can be safely used when you're baking. Okay, so when you're baking. When you're coating a pan or a cookie sheet, use coconut oil or butter. All right? Now, flax oil and hemp seed oil should not be used at high temperatures. So the flax oil and the hemp seed oil do not use at high temperatures, and the reason why is because what happens? Yeah, they smoke and they become damaged, and so then you're actually consuming rancid fats that are very inflammatory inside of the body. All right? Now, other hints on oils. When you're sauteing or frying, coconut oil is going to be the best. All right? I actually like to saute my vegetables, and I put a ton of coconut oil in them. So coconut oil has a very high smoke point, and it doesn't turn bad when you're actually frying it. Now, never heat olive oil or butter to the smoking point. All right? So once it reaches where it's smoking, then these are going to be bad. So things like olive oil should be finished with food after the food is actually done. So never heat flaxseed oil or hemp seed oil like we did. So you want to drizzle this over already cooked food, or you can use it in smoothies and things like that. All right? Now, what about whole grains? Here's the thing with whole grains. There's different types of people that do better with whole grains. And I'm going to tell you, all of you will not do very well with whole grains. In fact, who does the best with whole grains? People of equatorial descent will do a little bit better when it comes to actually whole grains. But all of us pretty much are coming from where? Northerly climates, Europe. I'm from Norway, so if you're from Norway, give me a high five afterwards. Yeah, all right, Norway, Germany. So people from more northerly climates, actually for thousands of years, we actually sustained on no grains, but a lot of protein and fish and fat. That's how we actually sustained. In fact, from Norway, it's like the only thing we did eat was like fish, and probably other people. I don't know if they did. I just heard they were really mean. All right, so you can survive without grains. Where are you getting your carbohydrates from? You're getting them from vegetables. Where are you getting your minerals from and your B vitamins? You're getting them from vegetables. Where do you get your calcium from? You're getting them from vegetables. So when you look at this, about 20 bowls of oatmeal will have the same nutritional content as far as vitamins and minerals as a whole entire bowl of kale. So you don't need to get your nutrients from grains. You can get minerals, nutrients, and vitamins from other things. So oatmeal isn't necessarily healthy for you. In fact, if you look at instant oatmeal has a very high glycemic index that's almost identical to sugar. It goes into your mouth, and immediately, by the time it reaches down into your stomach, it has already turned to sugar and is ready to spike your blood sugar. All right? Now, alternatives to refined grains and flour. So what are we going to cook with? So these are some great things that you can cook with. I'm going to do is start using almond flour, okay? So almond flour, coconut flour, ground flax seeds, and ground flaxseed meal. So these are things that you can actually bake and cook with. Great alternatives to doing that, and a good thing is now they actually have them like at a grocery store now. So they have these alternatives. Why do you think they're at the grocery store? You know, for the longest time, no one could ever find them at a grocery store, but why does the grocery store carry them now? Yeah, they don't really care about your health. They're only going to carry what people are demanding. And so if the consumer demands it, they will carry it. Why do you think there's a giant liquor aisle in the grocery store? Because people demand it. They will always carry what people demand. And as we as a community, as we in Maximize Living serving hundreds of thousands of people every single year, as we take our health seriously and we start demanding it, we're forcing healthcare, we're forcing grocery stores, we're forcing all of these different companies to actually provide what is needed. And when they start providing what we need and we make it easier, more people start to come into the mix because we're making it easier and easier. So you guys are the pioneers. You guys understand that? You guys are the pioneers in changing healthcare. That's something you should be really proud of. You're the pioneers and you are the visionaries. And so let me tell you something. Do not stop doing that. Because as your story becomes better, as your story of health continues to unfold, you give other people permission and you give them the vision to do the exact same things that you like. Those recipes, I'm going to do periodically go onto my website and go up and look at, we have a special tab up here, like videos and articles right here, and it has literally page after page after page of recipes. How many of you actually gone online and looked for recipes? Because we have literally dozens of recipes on our website, including Advanced Plan Fudge, Advanced Plan Sugar Cookies, and Maximize Energy Bars, which are going to be Core Plan approved. All of this is, like, all of the resources are there just underneath your index finger with a mouse click, all right? How many of you like Dr. Nathan Thompson's Facebook page? So I have things that come out Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. You're like, I don't know how to work out. I'm like, if you go to my page, I've actually put like 70 different workouts, you know, on there. It's all there. And it's all there if you're looking for it. But you got to be able to look for it. So we have these recipes as far, and dozens of other ones will actually be on tccyorkville.com. Click on this, videos and articles, and you'll see recipes, you'll see blog posts, you'll see all of those different things. It's all there. It's all there. You just have to be able to.